Hi everybody, it's Monday evening. Welcome back to another week of family meals on the SeeSaw. The last full week of June. Don't know quite where that's gone. So today we've had ribs that we were going to have on Saturday, but I just didn't get to the store early enough to cook them the way I wanted to. So these are the individual kind of ribs with more meat on them. They're meatier than the rack of ribs or spare ribs. They're just called pork ribs down here, but I think in different parts of the country they might be called different things. But they're the individual ribs. So I got 2 packs of those, chopped up an onion, put the ribs in the slow cooker this morning with the chopped onions kind of sprinkled through it. And then I made my own sauce. I started out with a cup of ketchup, a cup of water. I added a quarter of a cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a sprinkle of salt, and about a teaspoon of paprika. So that was everything. I combined it together, poured it over the ribs, and I've just left them to cook all day. So we left home at 7:30 this morning, got home this evening at about 4:30, and I turned them off then, and they were just perfect. Now, as you can see, as I've moved mine around on the plate, they've just, the bone has clean fallen out of the rib. So they really are fall apart, really tasty. And we've got them with some mashed potatoes. I was going to have baked potatoes with them. However, the baked potatoes didn't look like I wanted to risk baking them, so I chopped them up to mash them, to make them for mashing. And I'm glad I did, because there was quite a lot of bad bits, and we probably wouldn't have managed to get a full baked potato each out of them. So another issue with the terrible potatoes we're having this summer. Anyway, mashed potato, and I've got some of the corn that we do, which is just frozen corn cooked. Added a little bit of butter once they were cooked, and then a good sprinkling of mixed herbs and some black pepper. Just makes it a little bit more flavoursome. So you can see there is a little bit of fat around there, but that's just come from the meat. It's not anything added. I didn't add any oil or anything to it, and I did think the sauce looked nice enough to pour some over my meal. You could strain the sauce out and then mop up the fat and have it that way without any of the fat from the meat juices in it. But really, when it's pork ribs, they're fatty anyway, so who really cares about a little bit of extra fat in the sauce? So that's mine. That's Caleb's. He's got exactly the same as me, just a slightly smaller amount of potatoes and corn, but he's got 2 ribs as well. And one of his, I think it was this one, the bone fell out as I was taking it out of the pot. So, yep. Great Monday night. It would have been a good Saturday evening tea, but when you can use the crock pot to take a bit of a shortcut like that, I just left it to cook all day. It smelled absolutely delicious when we got into the house tonight. And so we're looking forward to tucking into this to start another week. Hi everybody, so for Tuesday evening we've got a chicken potato bake with roasted green beans. Well, actually, not entirely true. I was going to do chicken potato bake, but then I had more chicken thighs and didn't want to use a huge pan, and so decided to cook the potatoes separately. So the chicken thighs, just put in the baking tray with, I poured over some vinaigrette dressing, so some of the dressing has oil and vinegar and some seasoning. You could use an Italian dressing if you have that, but any kind of vinaigrette dressing would be fine. Just pour some of that over the chicken, sprinkled it with Italian herb mixture, and grated on some Parmesan cheese. So they were baked in the oven for about 45 minutes. The green beans have been boiled, like blanched, for about 5 minutes. And then I put them in a little roasting pan with a chopped onion, some garlic, a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and a couple of teaspoons of olive oil. Tossed those all together and roasted them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes. So the green beans have been roasted, and then the potatoes, these are the red skin potatoes, left them with the skins on, chopped them, put them in the active fryer with a teaspoon of oil and a sprinkling of Italian seasoning. And then when they were cooked, I just grated over some Parmesan cheese. So it's got an Italian kind of theme to the meal, but it's chicken thighs with roasted green beans and Italian potatoes. So it's Wednesday evening, and tonight we've got what I'm calling peachy pork. So this is, I've said this a few times lately, but this is really simple dish to make if you're in a hurry. So I cooked some white rice. I just cooked it with a stock cube crumbled into the water just to give it a bit of flavour. And then the pork is a pork fillet, or if you're in the US, that's a pork tenderloin. just sliced up into thin slices. You could cut it into strips. I just did mine into like medallions. Cooked it in the pan with a little bit of oil and some garlic, just long enough for the pork to be cooked through. So it only takes about 10 minutes perhaps. Then I stirred through a whole jar of salsa and about a quarter cup or 2 kind of really good spoonfuls of peach preserves, peach jam, peach conserve, whatever you can find really. So as I said on my grocery haul, here in the UK it's quite hard to find peach preserves, whereas in the US it's kind of a staple that you can find in most stores. So if you can't find peach, you could use apricot. It would be quite similar, but not quite the same flavour obviously. So it gives it a bit of a sweet and sour kind of taste. I've used hot salsa, so it is a little bit spicier, but you can use whatever salsa your family likes really. So yeah, that's it for Wednesday evening, peachy pork with white rice. Hi everybody, so it's Thursday evening and tonight we've got a cheesy spaghetti tetrazzini. Not really sure what tetrazzini officially is. Again, it's a dish I first started making when I lived in the States. I often make it with chicken, but tonight I've made it with a meat sauce. So essentially you cook up your spaghetti. Once it's cooked, you in a bowl combine a small tub of cream cheese, a small, not the tiny pot, medium-sized pot of cottage cheese, so that's about a cup of cottage cheese, and a cup of sour cream. Combine that together with some chopped chives or spring onions, green onions, whatever you've got, a little bit of chopped green pepper, and mix that all through with the spaghetti. And you put that in the bottom of a casserole dish, and then while the spaghetti was cooking I made a meat sauce, so a package of mince, a little bit of chopped onion, a carton of passata, and then some seasonings. I used garlic granules, some mixed herbs, some salt and pepper. You pour that over the top of the spaghetti in a casserole dish. You put, I used Parmesan and cheddar cheese over the top of that, and bake it for about half an hour at about 180, 190 degrees C. We've got that with some garlic bread tonight. It just makes a bit of a difference from spag bowl. You've got the extra protein with the cheeses mixed in with the spaghetti. Makes it nice. It's still really soft. It's not at all, you can see here, it's not at all crunchy. It's still nice and soft, but you've got the cheese mixed in with the spaghetti. So that's mine. That is Caleb's. And you can see the big pan over here. So you can see the spaghetti is on the bottom, and then you've got the meat sauce and then cheese on the top. A little bit watery there because I did have quite a saucy meat sauce. The spaghetti was well drained, but the meat sauce was quite there was quite a bit of liquid with it, and I just left it because actually it keeps the spaghetti softer. So yeah, we've got cheesy tetrazzini for our Thursday night tea. So it's Friday night again, and tonight we're having actual takeaway. We've gone with a KFC boneless feast meal. So we've got the chicken fillets, the popcorn chicken, chips, coleslaw, and the boys have got corn on the cob with theirs as well. So quick and easy. It's been a busy week. Looking forward to hopefully some really summery weather this weekend. We've got a dinner out tomorrow night for Saturday. If I am able to, I will film just to show you what we're having. But tonight it's a KFC. Hi everybody, so it's Sunday evening again, and tonight we're having roast gammon. So I always cook my gammon the same way. I boil it, I buy it unsmoked, and then I boil it with some seasonings and onion for about an hour, then take it out of the water, put it in a roasting pan, put a bit of glaze over it, and roast it for about half an hour. So that's what we've got tonight. It looks really nice with mashed potatoes and steamed vegetables. So that's mine, and that is Caleb's. We've just had a bit of excitement. We've been keeping tabs on a baby blackbird in our garden all day. Mummy keeps coming and feeding it. But our neighbours have 3 cats, and the blackbird doesn't seem yet to quite be able to properly fly. So he's been hopping all over our garden, and we've been quite entertained by him. And just had a shout from Caleb as I was dishing up dinner that the bird was in the house. So the baby bird had come in the back door and made his way into the living room where the guinea pig's cage is, and was hanging out in there. So we've just had to take him back outside, and we're trying to tell him he needs to stay quiet and stay hidden so that the cats don't find him. But yeah, quite an entertaining saga in our garden this afternoon. But after all that, we're off to enjoy our gammon dinner.